War Room Sports. www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.
What's good, War Room Nation? Welcome to OBR, Operation Battle Rap, brought to you by War Room Sports, of course. This is the show where we talk about the battle rap culture and treat it just like the sport it is. I'm your host. My name is Jimmy, a.k.a. The Blueprint, at JW The Blueprint on Twitter. And I have my esteemed colleagues that are at the round table today. But before I even get to that, here's what I want to do. I want to give a couple shout-outs. First off, I want to send a special shout-out to Chris and the whole Unbiased Review group on Facebook. They showed our last video a lot of love, gave us a lot of pointers, and they definitely supported it. Special shout-out to a couple members, at NeefBuck45, that's the homie Hanif. Shout-out to Dana. Because there will be on future episodes of OBR as well as Chris himself. So special shout-out to that whole group over there. Hey, Kyrie, you said you had some shout-outs that you wanted to give?
Yeah, most definitely. I want to shout out my homie OWC Flash, OWC Cyborg, and the whole OWC clan.
No doubt. Also, real quick shout-out to the homie Marlon from our battle rap group because he's in there with us every day arguing battle rap. You know what I mean? So shout out to you, homie. Another thing I want to do is send a shout-out to all the MCs that sent me tweets directly saying they appreciated the show. And a couple even asked, could we review their battles? And we were going to do that anyway. But shout out to them for noticing what we're doing over here. And also shout out to the URL, and especially Norbs, because we reached out to Norbs and I had a conversation with him. So that's the homie. And other than that, man, let's just go around the round table. First off, I have Kyrie, a.k.a. at SnowmanWL662 on Twitter, the Battle Rap Fanatic. I got the homie Eddie Bailey of Savoy Media Group. New nickname, we call him Dot Mob Eddie because he's a Dot Mob fanatic. We got the brother B. Austin, a.k.a. the Hot Block Commander of War Room Sports. So what's good, gentlemen? Everything good?
Good.
Everything.
Yo, man, I just want to take the time to shout out Diddy, shout out Busta Bus, shout out the War Room Nation, shout out Barack Obama, shout out Mitt Romney. All right, that's enough shouting out.
Yeah, you know how it is. What's hip-hop without shout-outs, though? You know what I mean?
True indeed. Yo, shout out to Turkey Hill Iced Tea. I can't show y'all the label because we get paid for this.
Yeah, they didn't cut the check.
They ain't cut the check.
That's some good iced tea.
You could trust me when I tell you this is good Turkey Hill Iced Tea.
But they ain't cut the check, though. And if y'all want to know how the War Room Sports play, just go to our website and look at our homepage. If you cut a check, we put you there. If you don't cut a check, we don't mention you. That's just how it goes, man. Unless you show us love in another way. But that being
said,
man,
shout out to Good Pretzels.
We're going to jump into this battle. We're going to talk a little bit about the TAY ROC and Cortez battle and pretty much break down and then give our opinions on what we thought happened. Before I do that, let's talk about our predictions for this battle because that's something that was brought up in the Unbiased Review group. Let's go over our predictions. So, Kyrie, for this battle, you had TAY ROC 2-1. I had TAY ROC 2-1. Dot Mob Eddie, he had TAY ROC 2-1. And B. Austin had Cortez 2-1. So with that being said, let's start off with round one, and I'm going to start with you, Kyrie. Give me your opinion of round one. What were the highlights? What did you think overall about round one?
Round one, I gave Cortez edge. I think Cortez edged that round. Some of his better bars were, I like the whole serve you bacon bit scheme he did, what ended in tater tots. I like that whole scheme. Cook and Rock, ain't nothing crack about you. I like that. You battled Rich Dollars this year, you 0-2. Fell from the ring, lost your heart, you 0-2. I thought that was dope. The CP3 Billy Griffin flip I thought was dope. I'm a wave caps since you hair now like Jadakiss. I thought that was pretty clever. I like the Indian Giver bar that he did about TAY ROC girl with her fat behind. I thought that was pretty hot. On TAY ROC side, I thought his crisscross Miggity Mac bar was pretty dope. 4-hole 20 like International Smoke Day, I thought that was hot. The whole boxing scheme he did with I Am the Boxer, No Hands, brief where to get at, I thought that was pretty hot. But I still edged the Cortez.
Got you. Eddie, what did you think about round one? Who did you give round one to and why?
The first time I saw it, I gave it to TAY ROC, but then when I went back and looked at it for the second time, I thought Cortez edged it actually. I liked the whole Blake Griffin scheme, and then with TAY ROC, I didn't like the he was going too far with the Latin jokes to me.
Yeah.
I think when you don't have anything else to say and you start getting on race, I think that's when you run out of bars. And for me, that made me push Cortez or edge Cortez for that first round.
It's funny because online, everywhere, that's all I've been hearing about is all his Mexican jokes and whether they were effective or not. So that was I understand he's Puerto Rican and they were Mexican jokes. But, I'm going to keep it a bean. That makes it even more funnier to me. But anyway, let me go to B. Austin real quick and get his opinion. First round, who you got?
First round, I actually had TAY ROC. And I think bar-wise, they were pretty evenly matched, pretty close in that first round. I think TAY ROC kind of controlled the crowd a little bit. But then again, we get back to the dick-eating factor. Shout out to the homie Ness. For bringing up the dick eating factor. There were so many Dot Mob fans.
Yeah,
there were so many Dot Mob fans in the crowd. Every bar got a cheer, whether it was quality or not. But I think that I would give that first round to TAY ROC.
No doubt. In my opinion, so you have TAY ROC, Kyrie has Cortez, and Eddie, you said you got Cortez round 1 too, right?
I got Cortez round 1.
Okay. I definitely give Cortez round 1, but I think it was very, very close. Some of the lines that Kyrie mentioned I thought were hot. I'm not going to repeat them. The Owen Hart John was dope. Of course, the CP3. I love any kind of sports bars. I'm into that. But TAY ROC was talking that ish too, man. Like that one scheme he did with the liquor. I don't know if y'all caught that. He said, "I got a bitch named Remy. Y'all going to C-Rock Bombay." And he kept it going after that. I was like, nice. I don't even know I caught that. But I was like, yo, it was nice. You know what I'm saying? He has some bars. And and that's the thing about this battle, yo. I watched this battle about 6 times, man. And
as a quasi alcoholic and pseudo drunk, I definitely appreciated that scheme. I definitely appreciate it. So I'll give him a salute for that, John.
But it's crazy because my first couple times watching this battle, I literally had it like a tie, because they both were bringing it. But if I had to edge someone in the first round, I would give it to Cortez because Cortez, like bar for bar, was just bringing it. TAY ROC was no slouch either. So it was a tough one. But if I had to edge anybody, I would edge Cortez. So I gave Cortez round 1. Let's jump right to round 2. Kyrie, back to you. Round 2, what did you have?
Round 2, I seen completely different. I have Cortez completely washing TAY ROC in that round. I'm not even going to go into the bars. I'm going to just leave it at that.
Okay. So, so far you got Cortez 2-0 right now, right?
Correct.
Okay. Eddie, who you got in round 2?
2, I had Cortez.
Okay.
I had Cortez round 2. I think bar for bar, Cortez actually outbarred TAY ROC. Now I'm trying to jog my memory to figure out exactly what schemes that he said in round 2, because round 1 and round 3 were the most memorable for me. But round 2, I know I had Cortez again. Actually, Cortez did better in round 2 than he did in round 1. I think round 1 he was warming up a little bit, but round 2 he really got into the meat of who Cortez truly is.
Yeah. B. Austin.
Yo, this was a tide turner. I got Cortez for round 2 as well. I think that TAY ROC lost some of the energy. The bars weren't as hot in round 2. I think Cortez kind of brought it a little bit more in round 2. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna tip my cap to Cortez and give him the bell on round 2.
All right, no doubt. I also gave Cortez round 2, and the thing is, initially when I watched it, I gave it to TAY ROC because I like the scheme where he used all the battlers. He went to St. Louis and Chicago, and then he brought it to the East Coast.
Yeah,
I thought that was dope.
It's been done before.
Then that's the thing. I sat and thought about it. It's been done before, and it's been done better, to be honest with you.
He did it. He did it himself.
This is true. Some of Cortez's lines, that Cajun line, was crazy. Mm-hmm. And then he was talking about the whole, being in Cave Gang and Dot Mob at the same time and the whole house thing, and that was kind of dope.
That was it. He played him. He played him.
No, but then he hit him with the, he started talking about some real stuff. He started talking about, I used the gun that I gave Matt for Moot. I said, whoa. I mean, he's getting real greasy with him at that point. But and it crazy.
Don't forget the $500 for QP bar. That was crazy.
Yeah. But yo, the funny thing is, every time I'm doing this video now, I'll probably get off of this video, watch it again, and then edge Tay Roc. Right? I think it was that close. I do. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I definitely think it was that close because, like I said, the liquor line from Tay Roc, I didn't get that the first time I watched it. I just got that before we got on to do this video, and I was like, damn, I didn't even catch that. So another thing I found funny is, yo, these guys with these gun bars, and then they use a Pokemon reference. I don't know why, whether it's just me, but I find that hilarious. You give him gun bar, then you give a Pokemon reference. That's kind of funny. Although I caught the Pokemon reference, you know what I mean? Shout out to Pokemon. With that being said,
sorry, brothers, I had to plug in my charger.
Yeah, we know Eddie calling from the Greatestford phone. He had a phone check real quick. So Kyrie, you got Cortez 2-0.
Correct.
Damn, I just realized I got Cortez 2-0.
Yeah.
Eddie, you got Cortez 2-0, right?
Surprisingly.
Yeah, surprisingly. You dot mob Eddie, and B. Austin got it 1-up. So
1-up. Yeah, 1-1 for me.
Well, let's go to the third round, man. Let's go to the third round. I'm going to start with you, Kyrie. Who do you have in the third and why?
Third, I got Cortez. And the reason being, he started the round with the whole Puerto Rican rebuttal, which pretty much made all Tay Roc's jokes null and void. Then he had the gun engaged the ring back like a marriage split. I thought that was pretty dope. The raise his corpse like Lazarus. A lot of people didn't get that in the room I seen. Also, the whole Nazi Aryan sun bar, that was ridiculous.
Woo! That was mean. My bad. Go ahead.
I'm taking caps off like because you type small. Another one that didn't go over in the room, but I thought was crazy. Then at the end, he ended it off with the whole ass grabber, rock bottom jokes I thought were funny. So I gave it to him. I mean, Tay Roc had the breakfast scheme. I thought at the end of his bar was pretty crazy. The rest of the schemes, they didn't land for me at all. So that's all I have for him for the third.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's go to Eddie. Eddie, round 3.
I actually had Tay Roc round 3, even though he came with more of the Spanish jokes. I think he I think he outbarred Cortez in round 3.
Okay.
I think Cortez tried to finish it up, but yeah, I think he came with that old dot mob flavor in round 3.
Got you.
Credit to the dot mob.
Yeah, he had to throw that in there, didn't he? All right, B. Austin, who you got round 3?
Yo, they came out swinging, and to be honest, Tay Roc went down, and it was solely because of the ethnic jokes, the Mexican jokes. I thought a lot of them were clever, but I think he went to the well one too many times, and it kind of got old to me. Like, now your originality has to come in question for me, and you're really just trying to insult the boy, and then at the end you insult his ethnicity and y'all hug each other. So I think they're both corny for that.
Come on, man! It's a sport. Man. Cut that out.
I give Cortez the edge in round 3.
Okay, no doubt. Now, my opinion in round 3, and it changed because initially when I watched again, I had Tay Roc, but I actually edged Cortez. And Kyrie mentioned some of the lines. Nasi, Jew hate, I'ma carry the gun, light hair and blue eyes like an Aryan son. Just mean, man.
That's what I come to this place for.
Bunch of ass grabbers, none of them ashamed. It makes sense because all cavemen cuddled by a flame. Like, just funniness.
Yeah, that was funny. I'm not gonna front. That was funny.
So no front. Like the thing is, like I said, Tay Roc had bars in this joint. Like the joint that if I don't like you cockroaches, you get a scar face. I do a Mexican dirty. I'm desperado with the guitar case. And his delivery of the line was crazy.
That's the thing. Again, I'm noticing a trend with Dot Mob. Delivery and stage presence is kind of their thing, and again, Tay Roc kind of had it. Like, from a stage presence, he was stronger. He was raw. He was, you know what I'm saying? But when you analyze the bars, that third round for Cortez,
right?
Come on, man.
Well, I think Cortez too. I think Cortez is a vet. I mean, he's been at least as far as I've known him, been looking at battle rap. He's been in this a lot longer, and I think that where Tay Roc messed up again is with the race jokes. He just is too many.
All right, well,
too many of them. Whereas Cortez
let's get into that.
Every single round was just different.
Let's get into that because that's been a lot of the debate about this battle. He's Puerto Rican and he was hitting them with all kinds of Mexican jokes. Maybe I'm insensitive because I was cracking the hell up. I thought it was hilarious because, I mean, shout out to all my Puerto Ricans out there. I love y'all, but I know for a fact that a lot of them hate to be called Mexican. That makes it more disrespectful. Yeah. So when I was watching, I was like, maybe he's doing that intentionally to get under his skin.
No.
Because listen,
when you get below the Mason-Dixon line, they don't have a large Caribbean, Hispanic, or Latino population. So, like, Baltimore dudes don't interact with Puerto Ricans as much as New Yorkers or even Philadelphians. Like in Philly, we have a large Puerto Rican and Dominican population, and the thing that we as black people don't get is like there's a real beef in the Caribbean around like Caribbean Hispanic people do not like to be mistaken for Central Americans or South Americans on any level.
But that's my point. But that's my point. Was he doing that to get under his skin? Because a lot of people said that it was whack because he's hitting him with these jokes and he's not even Mexican. But I thought that was the point.
No, I think you can go too far with those jokes because, like for example, I hear a lot of Puerto Ricans and Dominicans use nigga a lot, but that's pretty permissible in hip hop for Puerto Ricans and Dominicans to use that term.
Okay.
One, not only because they live around black people, but two, because a lot of them are of African ancestry.
Right. So, the slave ship stopped there first.
Exactly. But there is a point where you have to stop because if Cortez called Tay Roc an African watermelon eating porch monkey,
maybe I'm insensitive. I'm sorry, I found that funny. But go ahead, though. I get your point.
But they would have been fighting. They would have been. It would have been a fight.
I totally get your point. So,
and I think when Tay Roc, when you said he told the whole line about I'm gonna clean you so this Mexican is gonna be spick and span or something like that. I think when you continue to say it over and over again, you just go a little bit too far. You push the edge a little. You push the envelope too much. I get your point,
but you also see it when you have like people who are Chinese and Asian. So it's another one of those things. I mean, this is battle rap. This is a sport.
Yeah.
So. What's off limits? I mean, is anything off limits?
Right,
and I understand.
But when
it's sort of like a disadvantage. Go ahead.
When you start talking about it's a sport, in most sports there are lines that are drawn. There's a definitive area that would be considered a no-fly zone. Now, I happen to know that we being from the war room, like we really don't have many cut cards or many no-fly zones outside of the fact that we don't want to blatantly offend people, but we speak our mind. Yes. But I think in this context, you're using ethnic jokes to get an upper hand intellectually on someone.
Right.
But it kind of lost its intellectual luster, if you will, after it was used twice. Then it was like he kind of harped on it because it's like, well, now you have to ask yourself, what else can you go to? Did you run out of other things to talk about?
Do you think it's kind of like an unfair advantage in a sense? Because let's just say you have a good one is the whole Mook and Iron Simon battle. Like that whole battle. So you're saying it's kind of like a disadvantage that Iron Solomon's at because Mook can make all the white jokes he wants.
Yeah, well, it is, but then you'll have the counter to that gets a lot deeper on the social and the social spectrum because the easiest rebuttal to that is, well, Iron Solomon, you have an advantage that I don't have because when you step outside of this arena, you're still recognized as a white person or part of an ethnic group that has a level of social elevation in the U.S. that I don't have. You know what I'm saying?
Mook made that point.
Yeah, and Mook touched on that. Mook touched on that. So I think, it gets very dicey when we start talking about things that are kind of taboo, if you will. Race, religion, you know what I'm saying? Even politics, because it strikes and it resonates with the core. But that's the reason that we love battle rap, because this is a forum where people can go there.
Right.
I just felt like it became kind of corny to kind of harp on it. You've done it once. All right, cool. You've done it twice. All right, cool.
So,
but now he
what he was
like
doing
4
was
times.
he was name calling basically. At a certain point, he was just name calling.
Yeah.
That was all. That's all he was doing. It wasn't any, I guess what.
It wasn't intellectual. It wasn't. How much intellect does it?
He called him every derogatory Hispanic name in the book.
I know one thing, man. Y'all making me feel very immature because honestly, I was crying. Like I thought it was hilarious, but I totally understand where you're coming from, and I get your point.
But I'm saying, like, if Cortez, if they start saying, if Cortez starts saying Sambo and Pickaninny and Buckwheat and Spade,
I get your point. No, I totally get your point. So what you're saying
Webster
is
Hall would have been a brawl. It would have been a brawl.
Well, it's happened before.
Wasn't it Webster Hall?
Prophet,
I get your
Prophet dropped the N-bomb in a battle, in the URL battle.
Who did?
Who said that?
Prophet.
He was talking about his son. He said because he had a son by a black
chick. The first time he sunned the nigga.
It was a white battle that said that. And the funny thing is, when I saw that, I felt uncomfortable. I was like, whoa! I had to rewind.
Yeah, it's all about our frame of reference too, Jimmy. Because I know for me, having grown up around Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, even some Cubans, like to a certain extent, I feel as though I can relate to them. And I have a common ground. So when I hear the word nigga come from them, it doesn't bother me the same way as if a white battle rapper were to use that word or use any of those, any of those racial epithets. Like I would have a problem with it. But coming from even Cortez, like Cortez used the N-word. Cortez used nigga a couple times, and it didn't bother me.
All the time.
Yeah.
I get that. It doesn't bother me either because again, like. I'm just like you. We grew up in the inner city in Philadelphia, so we're around all kinds of like races, cultures, and religions. So we understand that. But to me, the point I was trying to make in bringing us all up is, y'all looked at it a little bit different. I thought maybe he was using the Mexican jokes because, like I said, I know a lot of Puerto Ricans that get totally offended when you call them Mexican. So I thought maybe he was doing it intentionally.
I think your level of cultural awareness is a little bit higher, and you're putting a little bit more intellect into this than I would give TAY ROC credit for.
Right, and then you got to think about this. You got to think about this. Everybody calls Cortez a Mexican in the URL. They don't even call him Puerto Rican. They call him Mexican.
And he's addressed it before because
especially the Midwest rappers.
He's addressed it. He's addressed it before, and to pretty much say that he's not Mexican.
Again, that's a great point that Eddie makes because now we get into the geography of things.
Right.
Because people in the Midwest don't come into contact with typically. There are exceptions. They don't come into contact with Caribbean Hispanic folks or Caribbean Latino. They don't have Puerto Ricans and Dominicans in St. Louis or in L.A. They have Mexicans, so they relate him to being – because he doesn't have African American or African features like some Puerto Ricans or Dominicans do.
Y'all trying to turn the OBR into CNN.
But don't forget, Moneybag gets away with it all the time.
Yes, he
Kyrie,
does.
who?
Moneybag. But you know what, though? I mean, and the bottom line with all this is, but you guys are basically saying is it got boring after a while. Like, if he had one or two,
it wasn't creative.
Well, it got a little bit. It got
kind of redundant. And the thing about it is, like I said, I'm going to be completely honest. When I first watched it, I was laughing. I found it funny. But as the more and more I watched the battle, the more and more I caught the bars and Cortez. Like, I picked TAY ROC. But Cortez has some bars. He has some gems in there that I didn't catch the first time. And a lot of people didn't like this battle. I personally did like the battle. I don't think it was a great and all-time great, but at the same time, I was very entertained. It was okay. And honestly, TAY ROC to me is very entertaining. I like his delivery of his lines, and his stage presence.
I think he did a lot better against Rich though.
The one mantra that the Snowman has laid out, aka Kyrie, for all of our listeners and viewers, is real rap is bars overall. So
I can't take credit for that. That's Jazz
bars
the rapper.
overall. Jazz the rap. Bars overall. So now when we looking at stage presence, it's like TAY ROC. Again, TAY ROC had that stage presence. He had that raw, but when you analyze the bars, Cortez kind of comes out on top.
Yeah.
It's for me, I don't even think it's bars over everything. I think it's a combination. But even within that, to me, it's your pen game over everything. Because you can, if you're able to write at a certain level and be creative with the pen, you don't necessarily have to have bar.
Right.
And to give you a great example of that is there's a lot of great examples of that. Murder Mook, but also Loaded Lux. His third against Calico wasn't bar heavy, But I mean, that's one of the greatest rounds ever.
Yeah,
Also, shaking his head too.
But you know what though? I think with Tay Roc, he had crazy bars, and I liked him. Even though I didn't really like the race bars, they were structured well, but it was just the content. It's the content of your bars too.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's a lot that goes into
Cortez had
it.
different content, and I think that's what people like really related to.
It's a lot that goes into it, but one thing that also, this is also a sport, but it's also an art. And art is, is
subjective.
It's very subjective, because some people will say bars over everything because that's what they like. Some people like the aggression, but for me, it's about your pen game. Like, are you able to be creative with your pen? And that could be punches, it could be metaphors, it could be wordplay, it could be double entendres, it could be whether you make me think about something.
Those are all bars.
Double entendres.
But no, it could be. But see, people have different definition of what exactly a bar is as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you get real technical, I get where you're going, Jimmy. When you get really, really, really technical, your bars could contain anything. So when you say pen game, you're differentiating between the content of the lyric versus the bar structure. I get that. So I would relate more to you. I would say pen game over bars and structure, bars and structure over
pen game over everything, man. Pen game over everything, man. Because to me, that's what it boils down to. If you got a mean pen game, it is what it is. But we went
bars structure and scheme over stage presence.
We went off on a major tangent. But at the end of the day,
we're allowed to.
It had to be talked about, though.
Yeah, it had to be talked about.
Look at B Magic. B Magic is crazy bars, but he has the stage presence.
I'm not allowing you to discredit B Magic.
I'm not discrediting. I'm just saying his bars are.
B Magic is my personal top 2, man. No slander at B Magic on the OBR. But listen, though,
but you have to admit he has the performance of a Mr. Potato Head.
No, he's getting better. Cut that out. Cut that out.
Seriously?
No, cut that out. No slander. Yo, real quick though, I just want to say, I enjoyed this conversation, even though Austin tried to turn this into this CNN. But like you said, it had to be talked about. These are things that, as the sport grows, will be talked about more, because you'll have people from all different cultures and races, intertwined in the sport. So, I mean, that's something that definitely have to think about, because at times it can get dicey, but it just at the end of the day, it's about your creativity. And what you guys were saying is, it kind of showed a lack of creativity to keep going back to the well.
Well, I think it's going to change. I think it's going to change when like I said, when Cortez and Hispanic rappers and white rappers and Jewish whatever, they started calling black people every name in the book. Then it's going to change. That's not
going to happen. Because think about it. Kyrie's a huge SoulCon fan. How many Jew jokes do you ever see when anytime he battles on anything?
And with that being said, he had some clever Puerto Rican jokes about Cortez in their battle.
That's what I'm saying. So, I mean, at the end of the day, even though I understand where you guys are coming from, but you don't want to censor the MC. And that's why I fall kind of on the other side, because I don't want to see censorship. You should be able to say whatever it is you want to say.
But if Jew jokes apply, then it's okay, though.
Well, no, I think it has to be. I think you can say whatever you want to say in battle rap, but there's certain rules. Like I think it was Rex said this. He said you can say anything, but if a dude's mom just died, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah, you have to have a personal. That's personal integrity. Like exactly. you have to have a level of personal integrity. I'm with Jimmy. I don't ever want to see censorship, because I think that would constrict the art, and in constricting the art, then you lose the value in the sport and the product that's put out. But you do have to have personal integrity, man. That's what that boils down to. Your own internal censor.
This is coming from a guy who just slandered a dead man a couple hours ago. But anyway,
if you watch the Arsenal and Shotty horror battle, Arsenal's the first person to talk about Shotty's uncle.
Yeah, his dead uncle or something like that. Yeah, you're right.
If you watch the unanimous battle, he pretty much told him not to say nothing, and he didn't.
All right, well, with that being said, man, at the end of the day, let's get back to what we're here for. Coming into this, all of us had Tay Roc 2-1, with the exception of B. Austin, who had Cortez 2-1. So I guess everybody flip-flopped.
It played out just how I said, bro.
It played out like Austin said. You have to admit that. Kyrie, you actually have Cortez 3-0, as do I. And Eddie, you said 3-0 as well, right?
I said 2-1.
2-1. I'm sorry, 2-1.
2-1.
Okay.
He's never gonna let the dot mob go down with a body.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and I have to be completely honest with this. Although, and I know people will slander me in the comment section. Although I do have it 3-0, it's not a body bag.
Oh, it's not a body. No.
You can get 3-0 without a body bag. I think every round is close. How?
Please explain that.
3-0 is a body bag, isn't it?
I agree with you.
No.
But I see a lot of people.
Here's why I say that, because every round was close, and if you told me Tay Roc round one, I would definitely I may give it because it was that close.
Yeah.
So when every round is close, but I have someone slightly edging their opponent,
yeah,
it's not a body bag.
No,
you know what I mean? It's definitely not a body bag. That's what I mean, B. Austin. Like, he won every round, but he didn't run away with every round. It was very, very close.
I mean, so, well then,
if someone told me 2-1 Tay Roc, they can make that argument. That's how close it was.
Well then, Razor blades, more plates. Oh, never mind.
Come on, man, get out of that, man. He's a Tech 9 fan over there. But anyway, until next time, man. When the next battle drops, we'll be right back at it. Again, leave comments. Let us know how you feel about our show, what we can do to improve. If we have any reviewers out there that want a chance to come on and talk with us, we're more than welcome to have people on with us. You know what I mean? It's 4 of us, but we can bring a couple more people on to give their opinion. That's what we're about. It's pretty much just talking about this culture like the sport it is. So until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance. And we out of here.
It's the war room with 5 nights at the round table, 5 Philly guys.